like to call the meeting to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to start the meeting with roll call.
Jim Sullivan, Director of Engineering Service.
Dave Chris, Director of Finance.
Bob Hart, Township Manager.
Sean Kilkenny, Township Solicitor.
Kevin McDevitt, Supervisor.
Joe Gavanis, Vice Chairman.
Ashley DePiro, Chairwoman. I'd like to take this time for a moment of silence for Kenneth Knight, East Norton Township's elected auditor. Thank you. I'd also like to make the announcement that we had an executive session to discuss matters of personnel and litigation. I'd like to make a motion to approve meeting minutes from June 29th, 2021. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Vice Chairman Joseph, Mr. Gavanis. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Citizens to be heard. Okay. Comments by the Board of Supervisors? I have one comment. I just want to thank East Norton staff and Parks and Recreation for a wonderful experience with camp this summer. My kids loved it. I loved it. Okay. It was a great experience. The fire department, the police, you guys all hands on deck to make this such an incredible experience for the kids of East Norton. So thank you so much.
I'm going to make a comment too. Last Wednesday, we had a terrific storm go through East Norton Township. People lost power, I think, till Sunday, some of them. And I think our township crew and the police, the fire, the EMS did a great job. I think between they ran calls from 2:30 in the afternoon to almost 10 o'clock at night in between a house fire. So it was a real all hands on deck, and they did a terrific job. And also our surrounding townships also helped out with their fire company. Upper Gwinnett, West Norton, Norristown, they all chipped in to give us a hand. And I just wanted to mention that it was a great success from everybody.
And I want to make one comment, and on a lighter note, I want to thank Parks and Rec for having the AM radio tribute band on July 9th. It was a great night, my kind of music. I know Mr. Sullivan wanted Lawrence Welk, but that group was not around. But it was a great night and a good turnout, and another fine job by Parks and Rec.
All right, moving on to old business. Ordinance number 591, ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 26, Article 1, modifying the defined contribution benefit provisions of the non-uniform employees pension plan. I'd like to call on Finance Director, Mr. David Chris, to review this ordinance, please.
Thank you, Chair DePiro. The proposed ordinance in front of you amends the East Norton Township non-uniformed defined benefit plan to freeze participation in the defined benefit plan effective December 31st, 2020, and to provide a defined contribution pension plan and benefits for employees hired on or after January 1st of 2021. That's what the advertisement reads. By way of background, if you recall, in late 2020, after a thorough review by and upon the recommendation of township staff, the Board of Supervisors approved a change in the pension benefits for non-uniformed employees. Specifically, the plan was changed from a defined benefit plan to a defined contribution plan. And the first step in that process was to freeze the existing defined benefit plan, and that's what you did last December. The second step was to formally create the new defined contribution plan, and that's what this ordinance does. At the last meeting, the board approved authorization for advertisement of the proposed ordinance. It was duly advertised, and now is in front of you for final consideration. Mr. Hart, I don't know if you've had anything additional you wanted to add?
Thank you. All I will add is, as we discussed last time, this is the almost the last piece of our pension reform effort that we've been going on for the last year, and we're excited to finally be at this point. So, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 591. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to new business.
New business, resolution number 2839, authorizing the application for the DCED, and that stands for the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, Multimodal Transportation Fund Grant for the Whitehall Road Sidewalk Project. And I'd like to call on Township Engineer Kelly Goff to review this item.
Thank you, Supervisor Gavanis. With this authorization, you'll be submitting their application for your DCD MTF grant for the Whitehall Road Sidewalk Project. This will include improvements along Whitehall Road, including but not limited to sidewalk installation, curbing, and storm water infrastructure that will help with flooding within the area and pedestrian traffic along Whitehall Road. There is a 0% match requirement for this project, for this grant.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 2839. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Vice Chairman Mr. Gavanis. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item in the agenda is authorized to advertise stream bank stabilization for 2921 Hannah Avenue. Again, I'd like to call on our engineer, Kelly Groff.
Thank you, Supervisor McDevitt. Under this project, there will be improvements to the culvert that's located adjacent to 2921 Hannah Avenue. The improvements will include the culvert head wall replacement as well as a stabilization mattress to improve the erosion that's been occurring at that head wall.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have one. Is this up near the supermarket and or is this down towards the township line?
It's north of it, kind of near the Dogwood Apartments.
Okay. Is it on that side, on the Dogwood?
the other side.
That's what I thought. I thought the stream was over there. Okay. But it's like right there. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to authorize advertisement of the stream bank stabilization for 2921 Hannon Avenue. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next is consider bid for the 2021 road program. I'd like to call on the Director of Engineering Services, Mr. James Sullivan, to review this item, please.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, on July 20th, there was a bid opening, 2021 road program held at the offices of Remington Vernick Engineers. We received one bid from, what's the name of the place? Delaware Valley Paving. It seemed like they had the proper equipment for the job, but they did not have any projects of a similar size or nature. And they had some fatal flaws in their bid. So it's our recommendation that you reject this bid and authorize re-advertisement of the project.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to reauthorize the advertisement of the project. First? Okay, okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to reject the bid. Do I have a second on that
I'll
motion?
second the motion to reject the bid.
Okay, seconded by Supervisor, or Vice Chair, Mr. Gavanis. And then authorization, or a
So
motion,
vote on that
okay,
into the next part.
thank you.
All good. I know it's a little confusing.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to reauthorize. Okay. Re-advertise for the project. Okay, all those, do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. It's your up, Joe.
Okay, resolution number 2840, Act 537, Sewage Facilities Plan Special Study. Again, I'd like to call on our Director of Engineering Services, Jim Sullivan.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Gavanis. As part of the sale of the sewer system, the township was required to perform a special Act 537 study. This looked at alternatives to the sale of the system. Obviously, there weren't any. And for DEP to accept the fact that the township has actually sold the sewer system, this study had to be done. You have to adopt it by resolution, which is an official change to the Act 537 sewage facilities plan that the township has in place today. That's what this resolution will do. The actual study has been at the front desk and authorized advertisement for public comments. At this time, we haven't received any public comments, so this resolution is ready to be adopted.
If I can add, Madam Chair, it's really just a formality at this point. It's in Aqua's hands, they deal with all these issues, it's just a formality to get to the next step where they take over everything. Jim's been working on it because nobody knows sewage legislation, so we're ready to forward.
Okay. Any questions for the board?
You didn't really mean that.
So I'd like to make a motion to vote to approve resolution number 2840. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Gavanis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item on the agenda is authorization to advertise the amend solicitation ordinance.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I should have.
No, I believe I'm taking it, yeah. Okay. So a couple months ago, we received correspondence from a law firm out of Texas that had been sending correspondence not only to East Norton, but several other Montgomery County and area municipalities reviewing their solicitation ordinances. They cited case law, and our office reviewed it, and they were correct. Our ordinance was out of date and unconstitutional based on U.S. Supreme Court case law and case law from various federal circuits. So what we have here is a current ordinance to put us, one, in good legal standing and to do the following. So we repeal the old ordinance in its entirety and adopt the following major changes. We moved the solicitation curfew to 9 p.m. to comply with the actual United States Supreme Court ruling. We created a do not solicit registry. So if a citizen of East Norton does not want to be solicited, they can sign up and be put on this registry. And after 30 days would have the legal effect of a penalty if someone solicited them after they received a permit from the township and were made aware that they were not on the do not solicit registry. And we moved the permit process procedures from the current township permit form into an ordinance and added more detailed information that's kind of laid out in this ordinance. Much of this will be done administratively. But the long and short of it is people are allowed to solicit later. And the reason why they're allowed to solicit later is because of the United States Supreme Court ruling. Also, too, but East Norton citizens now will enjoy the right to say, I do not want solicitors at my door, and they can post a placard to that effect. And there will be a township registry, so when someone comes and applies for a solicitation ordinance, they'll be on notice of who they can and can't solicit. So that's a summary. We're just requesting that the Board of Supervisors go ahead and authorize the administration to go ahead and advertise this ordinance.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
I have a question, Mr. Kilkenny.
Sure.
So, do solicitors still have to come to the township to get a permit to solicit?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a question you cannot answer, but I'll say it. The do not solicit registry sounds good, but the do not call registry sounded good too, and that has had very little effect. What's the alternative if people get solicitors? What's the?
So if you signed up for the registry and someone is still knocking on your door, of course, there are exemptions for political speech and such, but if someone's trying to sell you something, so to speak, what I would do is if it's during regular business hours, call the township and we'll let code know. If it's after hours, call the police.
Okay. And we can take it from there.
Yeah.
Listen, I think most of us think it's probably a little inappropriate for somebody to be knocking on your door at 5 of 9 in early November to sell you something. The Supreme Court
Disagreed.
disagreed because they have gates.
Right.
They're home, so you can't get up there. But the reality is, we're required to do not required, but we're going to do a registry that we're going to keep track of. And if people violate that, they will be contacted, and we will pursue every legal option if we have a particular company that is violating continually or ignoring our restrictions, and then we'll ask our solicitor, can we deny them a permit to solicit? So they're either going to follow our rules, even as, to me, they shouldn't violate our rules because the Supreme Court has given them so much breadth of
Right.
legality. So they need to follow whatever we have. Obviously, ours was considered too restrictive in the past by the Supreme Court, but we're still going to do everything we can to make them follow the rules to the T.
Okay.
So, Mr. Kilkenny, do they have to show their permit if they come and solicit?
I guess a resident could ask them. Yeah.
I mean, that's something, I guess, if they're, because who do you know that
Yes.
may not have
A
a?
resident could ask them. Yeah.
Okay.
And that may be something we can put out as far as an informational matter from the township.
And we can look into that. Maybe we require them to show something from the township when we issue it. And that's something, this is just, we have a little time because we're just, we're going to come back and vote on it, but I think that's something that.
And unfortunately, East Norton's not the only one. Several of just my other clients have had the same issue.
It's happening all over.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, all over the country. Not just-
Pennsylvania.
And the residents still have the right, whether they're on the do not solicit registry or not, of just not answering the door.
Right.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'd like to make a motion to authorize the advertisement of the proposed ordinance. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Monthly expenditures, Mr. Chris, could you go over that, please?
Sure. Thank you, Chair DePiero. So presented for you tonight are the township expenditures for the month, and more precisely, you recall we do them from the date of the last monthly board meeting to the current board meeting. And those total expenditures are $966,506.12. The accounts payable portion, which is what consists of all of our payments for utilities, supplies, professional services, et cetera, is $538,567.99. And then our payroll expenditures, salaries, wages, taxes, et cetera, were $427,938.13. So together, without a calculator, they add up to $966,506.12. And what we're asking tonight is just for the board to approve those expenditures.
Okay, any questions from the board?
Nope.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the monthly expenditures. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Vice Chair Mr. Gavanis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Motion carries. Other business? Any other business? Okay, manager's update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just take a minute. I want to follow up on Supervisor McDevitt's comments earlier. As you know, recently, last weekend, there was tragedy in the emergency service world and the fire world when a driver on 76 killed a volunteer and paid professional firefighter, as well as injuring other firefighters and a state trooper. Of course, the board in East Norton community at large mourns the loss of Thomas Royds. And we appreciate the commitment that all our volunteers do. They never think, not only are they going out there to do a dangerous job to begin with, but we never think they may do something like this, get hit by something unrelated to the actual emergency that they're responding to. So it's definitely something that hit home for all of us, and we send our prayers to that community and the family of Mr. Royds. Ties into Mr. McDevitt saying about our storm of last week. As you know, East Norton is one of the few communities that really took the brunt of the storm. The straight line winds really did some significant damage in a very brief period of time to our community. But when that hit, getting towards the end of a workday, all of our emergency services team sprung into action. Chief Pasquale and Deputy Chief Pulaski and their whole department sprung into action. Our paid code firefighter team sprung into action. Just put an emergency operations center together and started moving to contain this and to mediate and deal with all the emergencies that were coming up. Our volunteers, our volunteer fire company, guys that were flying home from work to come in and get into the EOC to start working on this. We had help from Upper Gwinnett Fire Company, Norristown Fire Company, Worcester Fire Police, Harmonville Fire Police, people that came from all over because they knew how hard we were hit and that people were in danger, and we didn't even know how deep or the depths of the danger that people were facing. But I'll say, and our team, our paid team here was leading the charge, but our volunteers came in, led by Chief Kyle McClure from Norton Fire Company. And I want to acknowledge the volunteers that came in because literally they rushed from work to get here to help our team and save people from, I can tell you, we had a lot of elderly people that had significant damage to their homes, that they may not have been in physical jeopardy of a tree falling, but their emotional state and psychological state was really in a precarious position. And these people and our codes guys and our fire guys went out and met with them and talked to them, and they gave them someone to feel close to and talk to and air their feelings and expressions. Our volunteers from Chief Kyle McClure, Terry Campbell, Mary Giordano, David Myers, Shane Henderson, Doug Lindberg, George Myers, they came out. They knew it needed to be done. It wasn't your typical fire incident. It was truly an emergency services event where our team, led by our chief and others that really put this together, went out there and got it done. And last but not least, what is always forgotten in the emergency services world is what a critical partner in that team, or part of that team is your public works department of your township. And Chief will tell you all the time that they're running around doing a million things. Our public works guys, led by Brett Stevenson, Cecil B. Bradbury, Tim Bradbury back there on the camera, and Chris Pye and Ray DeRazio and all the guys that run out there and make it happen. They get the cones out, they get the barricades out, they get trees down, they get people out of harm's way quickly. It's a tremendous team effort. It's something that happens in all our communities. In East Norton, it's done, and it's done well. And the professionalism that is shown, and it's a constant work in progress, don't get me wrong. We have our guys here. Deputy Chief Pulaski works nonstop on this incident response, and it's showing great results because for years we were townships. We all live in our little township, what was thought of. The professionalism has exploded, truly, in Montgomery County and across the state, and East Norton's a leader in that. And I'm so proud of the work they do, and I know the board is as well, because we were in contact throughout all these events and all the issues that go on. But I do want to share with everyone in our community how fortunate our community is, and we all are, of what they do and what they put themselves really in harm's way without a thought. And lastly, we had our team go out in the days after. Our codes guys, different staff members went out and knocked on doors in the hardest hit neighborhoods, because we knew there were elderly people, there were people disabled that couldn't get their stuff out to the curb for our team to even do it, to get rid of it. And they went and they pulled, and we had some of our people, you would be amazed, had emotional interactions with residents. So it was really a special time, and it's something that we can all be very proud of, and we're going to continue to professionalize our response and really lead this county and hopefully lead the state into the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Citizens to be heard. Okay. All right. Being none, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, second by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all those opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.